Hey, have you heard about the 3-second rule? It can change the way you approach opportunities.
You see her across the coffee shop. She's perfect. Your heart starts racing. You tell yourself you're going to go talk to her. Just in a minute, after you finish your coffee. After you think of something clever to say. After you look at your phone one more time to build up courage. And then she's gone. If this has ever happened to you, and let's be real, it's happened to all of us, then you need to hear about the 3-second rule. And no, I'm not talking about food on the floor. What's up, guys? Today we're talking about something that completely changed how I interact with women. And honestly, it sounds almost too simple to work. But here's the thing. The 3-second rule isn't some magic pickup line or psychological trick. It's actually about rewiring how your brain handles fear. And yeah, I know that sounds dramatic, but trust me on this. The rule is simple. When you see a woman you want to talk to, you've got 3 seconds to make a move. 3. That's it. You count to 3 in your head, and you go. No overthinking. No planning the perfect opener. No waiting for the right moment. Just go. And I'm going to explain exactly why this works. Why your brain is basically sabotaging you right now. And how I went from being the guy who'd spend 20 minutes psyching myself up just to chicken out anyway, to actually be able to walk up and start conversations without my brain short-circuiting. Look, man, I used to be terrible at this. Like, embarrassingly bad. I'd see someone I wanted to meet, and I'd spend so long in my head that I'd literally talk myself out of it every single time. And the excuses I'd come up with, they were creative. I'll give myself that. She's probably busy. She's wearing headphones. That's the universal don't talk to me signal. What if her boyfriend's just in the bathroom? I should wait until I have something interesting to say. Real talk. All of those are just fear dressed up as logic. So here's what actually happens in your brain. And once you understand this, the whole 3-second thing makes so much more sense. When you first spot someone attractive, there's this brief window where you're just open to possibilities. You're not scared yet. You're maybe even excited. It's like your brain hasn't fully processed what you're about to do. But then, and this is where we mess up, we give ourselves time to think. And thinking is when the fear kicks in. Your brain starts running simulations. It imagines all the ways this could go wrong. Rejection, awkwardness, her laughing at you, you saying something stupid, everyone in the coffee shop watching you crash and burn. Your brain is literally designed to keep you safe. And approaching a stranger? That feels unsafe. So it throws up every red flag it can find. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. It's like, when you're standing at the edge of a pool and you know the water's going to be cold, the longer you stand there thinking about it, the harder it becomes to jump in. But if you just did it immediately, you'd be in the water before your brain had time to freak out. That's the 3-second rule. I learned this the hard way. And honestly, I wish someone had told me this when I was younger. I was at a bar with my buddy Mike. This was probably 5 years ago. And I saw this woman at the other end, gorgeous, laughing with her friends. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go talk to her. Mike was hyping me up. I was feeling good. I had my drink for confidence. And I just stood there for like 15 minutes. Man, just stood there, watching her, running through conversation starters in my head. Waiting for the perfect moment. You know what happened? Some other guy walked right up to her. Didn't hesitate. Didn't plan. Just walked up, said something that made her laugh. And within 2 minutes, they were deep in conversation. And I was still standing there with Mike, feeling like an idiot. Mike looked at me and said something I'll never forget. Dude, you just got beaten by someone who was willing to be brave for 3 seconds. That hit different. Because he was right. That guy didn't have better lines than me. He wasn't better looking. He didn't have some secret technique. He just moved, and I didn't. So I started testing this 3-second thing. And look, it felt absolutely ridiculous at first. Like, I'm a grown man counting 1, 2, 3 in my head like I'm about to jump off a diving board. But here's what I noticed. It worked. Not because of anything magical, but because it broke my pattern of overthinking. Let me paint you a picture of how this actually looks. You're at a bookstore. You see someone interesting browse in the fiction section. The old you would think, okay, what's she reading? Let me see if I can make a clever comment about that book. Wait, I haven't read that book. What if she asks me about it? Maybe I should pretend I have? No, that's dumb. She'll know. Okay, different approach. I'll ask her for a recommendation. But that's boring. Everyone does that. Let me think of something more original. And while you're having this internal debate, she's moved to the history section, then to the checkout line, and now she's gone. The 3-second rule version. You see her. 1, 2, 3. You walk over. Hey, I saw you browsing and couldn't help but come say hi. I'm terrible at picking books. Any good ones you'd recommend? Is it the smoothest line ever? No. Does it matter? Also no, because you know what she's responding to. The fact that you had the confidence to approach. The actual words are almost secondary. Here's the thing nobody tells you, and this is something I had to learn through a lot of awkward interactions. Women aren't sitting around expecting perfect opening lines. They're not judging you based on whether you said something witty or original. In most cases, they're just pleasantly surprised that someone had the guts to approach in a normal, respectful way. But, and this is important, the 3-second rule only works if you're approaching with the right mindset. You're not rushing over to close or to run some pickup artist routine. You're just introducing yourself, being friendly, seeing if there's a connection. That's it. I know what some of you are thinking right now. Yeah, but what if she rejects me? And man, I get it. Rejection sucks. It feels personal even when it's not. But here's what I realized, and this took me way too long to figure out. The rejection you imagine while you're standing there overthinking, that's way worse than actual rejection. Think about it. When you spend 15 minutes psyching yourself up and then don't approach, you essentially rejected yourself. And then you get to carry that around for the rest of the day. I'm such a coward. I couldn't even talk to her. What's wrong with me? That feeling is brutal, and you did it to yourself. Actual rejection? It's usually pretty quick and painless. Oh, I'm actually here with someone, but thanks. Done. 5 seconds of slight awkwardness, and then you move on with your life. And honestly, sometimes it's not even real rejection. Maybe she IS there with someone, or she's having a bad day, or she just got out of a relationship, or she's just not looking to meet anyone right now. It's not always about you. But the rejection you give yourself by not trying, that one's definitely about you. And it reinforces this pattern where you become the guy who never approaches, who never takes chances, who's always waiting for perfect conditions that never come. Real talk. I've been rejected plenty of times. And yeah, it stung in the moment, but you know what I don't remember? Most of those rejections. They blend together and fade. But the times I didn't approach, the women I never talked to because I was too in my head, I remember some of those years later, and I still wonder what if. So let me actually break down how to use this rule, because just knowing about it is enough. You've got to practice it, and yeah, it's going to feel weird at first. Step 1. See someone you want to talk to. Don't analyze whether it's the right situation or whether you should approach. Just notice the impulse. Step 2. Start counting immediately. 1, 2, 3. Not 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Just count quick. This isn't a meditation exercise. Step 3. And this is crucial. You have to be physically moving by 3. Not thinking about moving. Not planning your route. Actually walking toward her. That's it. That's the whole thing. Now, what happens after you get there? That's where a lot of guys mess up, because they use all their courage to approach and then their brain just blanks. So here's my advice, and this comes from me fumbling through this many times. Keep it simple and honest. Hey, I know this is random, but I saw you and want to come say hi. Then you say your name. That's all you need. You don't need a clever line about her eyes or a smile or whatever. You don't need to neg her or do some routine you read about online. Just be a normal human being who noticed another human being and wanted to meet them. And here's the beautiful part. Once you're actually in the conversation, it gets easier. The hardest part is those first 3 seconds and the initial approach. After that, you're just talking. And you know how to talk. You do it every day. But let's address the elephant in the room, because I know some of you are thinking it. This feels creepy. I don't want to be that guy who's bothering women. And look, I respect that concern. But here's the difference. There's a massive gap between approaching someone in a respectful, social way and being a creep. Creepy is following someone, not taking no for an answer, approaching in situations where someone clearly wants to be left alone, or making it sexual right away. Walking up to someone at a coffee shop, bookstore, or social event and saying, "Hi, I'm John. I want to come introduce myself," is not creepy. It's actually how people have met for basically all of human history. We've just gotten so used to dating apps and sliding into DMs that we've forgotten that in-person interaction is actually normal. That said, and this is important, you need to read the room. Headphones in, clearly focused on something. At the gym mid-workout? Probably not the time. At a social place, making eye contact, looking approachable? Green light. And if she's not interested, you smile, say, "No worries, have a great day," and you walk away like a respectful adult. That's it. No arguing. No why not. No hanging around hoping she'll change your mind. The 3-second rule is about having the courage to approach, not about pressuring anyone. Let me tell you about one of my early 3-second rule attempts that actually worked, because I think it'll help illustrate how this plays out in real life. I was at a farmer's market, which I know sounds super wholesome and maybe not very exciting, but stay with me. I saw this woman looking at some pottery, and she had this expression like she was trying to decide if she actually wanted to buy this mug or not. Old me would have stood there thinking, should I say something about the mug? That's weird. What do I even know about pottery? Wait, maybe I can ask her opinion about something else. But I've been practicing the 3-second rule, so I just counted 1, 2, 3 and walked over. "Hey, I saw you eyeing that mug." I've been trying to convince myself I don't need a 7th coffee mug. But I'm losing the battle. "I'm Alex, by the way." And she laughed. Just a genuine, natural laugh. Said something like, "I have the same problem. My cabinet is full, but I can't stop buying them." We ended up talking for like 20 minutes. Got coffee after the market. Dated for a few months. Actually, before we realized we wanted different things. But that never would have happened if I'd stayed in my head. The magic wasn't in what I said. It was pretty basic, honestly. The magic was that I created an opportunity. I gave something a chance to happen instead of killing it before it started. Here's something else I want to talk about, because I think it trips guys up. The 3-second rule isn't about perfect execution. You're going to fumble sometimes. You're going to say something awkward, or you'll misread a situation, or you'll get tongue-tied halfway through your opener. That's fine. That's being human. I once used the 3-second rule, walked up to someone, opened my mouth, and literally forgot how to speak. Just stood there for a second like a malfunctioning robot. And you know what I did? I laughed at myself. Sorry. Apparently my brain just stopped working. "I'm Alex, and I want to come say hi." She thought it was charming. We had a nice conversation. Did it turn into anything? No. But it could have, and that's the point. I created a possibility instead of guaranteeing nothing would happen. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. And I'm not going to lie to you. The first few times are going to feel uncomfortable. Your heart's going to race. You might stumble over your words. Your hands might get a little sweaty. That's all normal. That's your brain adjusting to doing something new and scary. But here's what I noticed after doing this consistently for a few months. I stopped being so afraid of rejection. Not because I wasn't getting rejected anymore. I definitely still was sometimes. But because I realized rejection wasn't this big catastrophic thing I built up to be in my head. It was just a thing that happened sometimes. No big deal. And weirdly, once I stopped being so afraid of rejection, I actually got rejected less. I think because I was more relaxed, more genuine, more confident. I wasn't approaching women like I was trying to win them over or prove something. I was just meeting people and seeing what happened. Let me also say this, because it's important. The 3-second rule isn't just about romantic approaches. I've used the same principle for networking, making friends, asking questions in meetings. Basically, any situation where my brain wants to overthink and talk me out of taking action. The principle is the same. Your brain will sabotage you if you give it time. So don't give it time. See the opportunity, count to 3, move. But back to dating specifically. One thing I want to make sure you understand. This rule gets you in the door. That's it. It doesn't guarantee she's going to like you. It doesn't mean every approach will lead to a date. It just means you're giving yourself a chance instead of guaranteeing failure by never trying. What happens after you approach? That depends on so many factors: compatibility, timing, mutual attraction, whether you're actually interesting to talk to. And that's stuff you've got to work on separately. The 3-second rule just handles the approach anxiety part. Actually, let me clarify what I mean by that, because I don't want you thinking, oh, I just need to approach more and everything will work out. That's not quite it. You also need to be someone worth talking to. You need to have things going on in your life. You need to be working on yourself, your health, your career, your hobbies, your emotional intelligence. You need to be genuinely interested in other people, not just seeing women as targets or achievements. The 3-second rule handles the courage part. But courage without substance? That's just you being brave about wasting someone's time. So yeah, practice approaching. Get comfortable with starting conversations. But also make sure you're building a life that's interesting enough that people want to be part of it. I know that sounds harsh, but it's real. I've met guys who can approach all day long, but can't maintain a conversation because they literally have nothing going on in their lives. And I've met guys who are fascinating people, but can't get anywhere because they never approach anyone. You need both. All right. So here's what I want you to do this week. And I'm being serious. Actually do this. Don't just watch this video and then forget about it. Go somewhere social. Coffee shop, bookstore, bar, park, wherever. And practice the 3-second rule. Not necessarily with romantic intent. Just practice approaching people and starting conversations. See someone reading a book you recognize? 3 seconds. Walk over. Hey, is that any good? I've been meaning to read it. See someone with a cool shirt or interesting tattoo? 3 seconds. Hey, cool shirt. Where'd you get it? Just practice moving. Practice overriding that voice in your head that wants to overthink everything. Practice being someone who takes action instead of someone who watches life happen around them. And look, you're going to feel awkward at first. Some conversations will be short and go nowhere. Some people won't be interested in chatting. That's fine. You're building a muscle here. You're teaching your brain that approaching people isn't dangerous, isn't scary, and doesn't require perfect conditions. Start small if you need to. Practice on people you're not even attracted to, guys, older people, whoever. Just get comfortable being the person who initiates conversations. Once it feels more natural, then start applying it to people you actually want to meet romantically. And here's the last thing I'll say. Dating is hard, man. It really is. And anyone who tells you there's one simple trick that makes it easy is either lying or selling something. But the 3-second rule? This actually helped me. Not because it's magic, but because it forced me to get out of my own way. How many opportunities have you missed because you were too busy thinking? How many times have you gone home kicking yourself for not saying something? How many what-ifs are you carrying around? The 3-second rule won't guarantee you success, but it will guarantee you more chances, more opportunities, more possibilities. And honestly, that's all you need, because you're not going to connect with everyone, and that's fine. You just need to connect with someone, the right someone. But you can't do that if you never approach. So count to 3 and go. You got this. For real. And hey, if you try this and it works for you, or even if you try it and completely bomb, leave a comment and let me know. I read all of them. And honestly, your stories help other guys realize they're not alone in this. All right, man, I'll catch you in the next one. Now go practice. 3 seconds. That's all it takes. Like and subscribe to this channel if you already haven't done so, because there's more you will learn from here.